TNT Open Mind Insights brings you powerful, authentic conversations, illuminating the path to better mental health care for all.
Hello, Dr. Lin Lu. I'm very excited to be sat here today with you. I have the pleasure of knowing you a little bit better, but I'm really excited to kind of get to know you even more sitting here and really give other people the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us what you do and where you work?
Okay, so I am a pediatric and adult psychiatrist. I do a variety of different things. That the main part of it, what I'm doing is seeing patients. Now, actually, I don't say my patients. Okay, I call them my friends. I do. Okay, so I have little friends, young friends, and old friends. So I see the whole life span of them. Some are the youngest I see. I want to say the 3, 4 years old. The oldest I'm seeing not reaching 90 yet, but 86, 87. So I see whole spectrum. So that's my clinical practice. Another part I'm doing is teaching, and I love teaching, and I teach at the Rosalind Franklin Chicago Med School, where I get a chance to teach those med students who will be the next generation take care of me. Okay, so I want to make sure they get good education. Another piece, and I really love, is the TNT program. I get the opportunity to be part of this very meaningful, I want to say, movement, a project. And because this is also teaching, but teaching at a different scale, because I get to work with these primary care colleagues and who are interested in providing care for people that needed mental health, who are facing a mental health challenge and need help, and they are at the front line. And now there's such a shortage of mental health care provider, and I get to be part of the team to train them, and it's such a great honor. So that's what I do.
You do a lot of amazing things. So, again, I'm
Thank you.
excited to delve a little bit deeper. I'm just struck that you call them not your patients, but your friends.
Yes, yes. I do, if I may even um, stretch it a little bit, I see them not only as my friends, they are my neighbors, and they are my family. So something that get me into the mental health is that personal touch with the people who suffer, and that. I don't see that barrier between me and them, because I am witnessing their suffering, and I also know what it means, because I have family member suffer severe mental health conditions. I know when someone suffer that condition, it's not that person suffer, it's the whole family. Okay, so with that, then when I see those friends coming, I say, hi, my dear friend, so and so, so good to see you. Okay, then that's how our relationship.
No, and I think it's so interesting when you
Mm.
go through training and the white coat is a barrier between you and who you're, sat with, and all the medical terms we learn are a barrier between who and who's sitting in front of you. But in the end of it, you really have to break those down to really connect with your friends, your neighbors, so you can be helpful to them.
Yes, I so agree with you, and sometimes the barrier does not even exist, and there are times I forget who is sitting on what side of the table. What I mean by that is there are so maybe even more time than not that I feel encouraged and inspired by those who suffer severe mental health condition, and see the resilience in them, because I'm not even dare to put my own feet in their shoes, knowing how hard it is for them, and see how they um, power through it. Actually give me encouragement. So in that sense, in those days, I feel like they pay me, and then I get encouraged. So I really love what I'm doing, and I greatly appreciate I have the opportunity to be a clinician and now, as part of this team to be a educator. I just love what I'm doing.
No, that's beautiful. And I love the approach of, and it's not even just empathy. And again, some of this is maybe you mentioned you have family members with serious mental illness. And again, just acknowledging the lived experiences of those who come to you, but a deep respect for them to, again, live in their shoes. And, you and I may have no idea of what exactly it's like for them, but them to come and kind of survive and persist and still see you, talk to you, do everything, you can learn so much from that.
Absolutely, yes. And I think that is like something in about our human experience that we share it. Okay, so in a sense that because we share, as it's a shared experience, like when I see actually my sister. Okay, my sister suffer her mental health conditions. Um, Not only that she suffer, and I see how my parents suffer through it, and I also see how me myself for go through this journey at the very beginning. Um, it was that a lot of stigma. May I say that? Sarah know my background, and I grew up in China, and I get my training at Shanghai. I came to United States, but for me to, one of the reasons for me to come um, from China to United States, there are a variety of different reasons. I interested in immunology. I want to get, that advanced training in most developed country, United States. That's absolutely one of the reasons. But there is a reason I never speak out loudly is that knowing that my sister suffered severe mental health condition, I want to run away from it. So there was this shame and guilt. I avoid it. I don't want to feel. So um, my parents have two daughters. Okay, me and my sister, who's 4 years younger than me. Um, but so me myself, have to go through that journey of um, running away from it, but you see now what I'm doing here. So I kind of a full circle back. It's like I see it's my own healing because I cannot believe. Okay, I'm sitting here and talking about it calmly and not have tears. Not that I don't feel pain, but I see that all of this now I come to where I am now. I've gained that strength and resilience, and this has become the healing journey for myself, if I say it. Yes.
No, I mean, I think that's so beautiful, and really thank you for sharing. And I think so many of us have, serious mental illness either in ourselves or in our family members or close people, and we don't always know what to do with that, or once we didn't. And again, I think as we grow as psychiatrists, as providers, right, there's a different approach we have in understanding that, and again, addressing and how important is it to address that stigma and that bias, and how often does that really prevent people from accessing care?
Right, right. I think that talking about breakdown stigma. Um, I want to say that now 2025 compared to like 30 years ago, I want to say a day and night difference. Um, and I remember that when I um, want to become a psychiatrist. Okay, and at that time there was even talking about, what, is a psychiatrist a real doctor? Okay, there was even question about it. But now, as I, in the field, now, uh, particularly as the COVID, I want to say that something probably good come out of COVID is that it really helped break down the stigma. Okay, it was gradually breaking down, but um, uh, COVID really tear it down as it provide that the tool of telemedicine. So then the service able to reach to more populations, and also family, community, society really see clearly the struggle, so that as we now more recognize it. So I want to say that stigma now is really break down a lot. Not that there's no stigma, but one of, I think that me myself sitting here and share about my family members' struggle, and for me to talk about it, acknowledge it, I think that's, I feel comfortable because I don't feel the strong stigma. Otherwise, it would be so shameful and guilt and avoid talking about it. So I think that there's overall, I think there's I want to say reduce stigma and recognize that this is a kind of share human experience. So I think that's really good.
Yeah, and I agree, right? I think maybe it did a lot to help stigma, I will say. And you and I both work with, kids, adolescents, and families. It also did a lot to kind of really make their lives harder. And we're seeing a lot of mental health challenges, I think, in the kind of post COVID era, in the kid and youth that we see. I'm curious as to, what are your thoughts on kind of the current crisis in, children's mental health?
Yeah, I think that one thing that COVID did is really make us recognize how important is that human interaction. Okay, now we are, but very ironic or paradoxically, as we use this technology to reach in, but at the meantime, we see technology itself is not solving the problem. At times, could be the problem, right? It's kind of very paradoxical. And then another aspect of this, trauma, stress. And then, of course, I think that we at times also look into whether there are these genetic predispositions also play a role. So I think that it's really a lot of factor there, but there are the factors beyond our control, but there are things within that what we could do. I think that's um, what get me excited that with the advance of technology, and I see a lot of things which in the past I've never even able to contemplate a thing is possible, and I see and I get really excited. Yeah.
I was like, great, tell us, what should we be doing? What should we be thinking?
Okay, so I think that one thing these days, a lot of discussion about AI, and then there are these different um, uh, different view about it. It was funny that yesterday in that faculty dinner together, I sat next to Jeff, and then find out that my daughter working for a consulting company, and then Jeff said, "Oh, now they are going to downsize because a lot of those." Kind of those level of job will be eliminated, and then we talk about the chat box as a kind of a therapy, right? Provide therapy might be even better than we as a human being. So this really make me think. Now, as I look into the AI, a couple things I'm going to tie back to. I see the hope for people like my sister who eventually will benefit from this technology. If I may unfold that thought. Talking about these AIs and I think that we know that Neuralink, right? I follow that. That Neuralink now has 9 patients starting with 2024. The FDA approved prime trial now have 9 patients. From the first patient to the now 9 patient that I think that the was published July, just literally last month. Okay, so exciting is that technology now allowed us to translate from thoughts, okay, with the electrodes implanted in a particular brain area, that our original thinking can be received by this computer and translate either to stimulate, bypass some injury of the nerve coming down, bypass that, either make the muscle move or the extension part of its prosthetic move. And these what's it called? Telepathy yes, just like it's amazing. What I'm particularly interested in is that because if we can do these with the body movement, and Sarah, what you and I provide treatments, a lot of people struggle with thoughts, right? So thoughts, another way I'm going to tie in with movement, it's mind movement. And a lot of us struggle with emotion. Emotion is heart movement. It's all about movement. So if we now have that first link there, it's body movement, okay, action-wise, and then we sort it out, we now know quite a lot, and then we clearly see this AI, for example, ChatGPT, how good, logical that ChatGPT could think. If we link it with these, what we already achieved, I can see how that could potentially be the tool to help people who suffer schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. So that's what I see the technology potentially could do, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of hope for, again, things that could
Yes.
come. I would say the converse is, this is like a Netflix special of things that have gone wrong.
Yes,
Some of it does feel a little bit science fiction-y for now.
absolutely.
I think, what is your advice for how people can practically apply this? And again, child psychiatrists like you and me, but also, like you said, you do a lot of teaching with primary care providers. And so they're even more distant from this, let alone the AI versions of this.
Yeah, so I do encourage actually, I also actually provide supervision, collaboration with a nurse practitioner and for my work at Life Stands. So I strongly encourage, use this tool. AI is such a great tool. Open evidence. I found that it's even in some way really, really good. It's compatible to up to date, or maybe in some way. I even at times prefer open evidence. ChatGPT is a good tool to use. I think these are all the tools, I know there are, so I really encourage the families I work with, the friends that I work with, or my colleague that I collaborate with to embrace the technology. Okay, of course. Then the question is whether they're going to replace us, right? Whether we are replaceable, then we step into a different conversation.
Yeah, and that's where, again, even going back to your original point, I think there's something about that human connection, that human interrelatedness that just will never be fulfilled quite by technology. There's something about that that I think is unique. And again, I think it goes back to, you don't have patients, you have friends.
Yes.
And so the friends in front of you, and again, and I think of a lot of the people we work with who work in rural areas, and truly their patients or their friends are their neighbors, their local, service folks. And so those relationships, I think, can never be replaced by technology. I think technology can be used to inform and to, make some, other tasks easier. But at the core of it, right, those relationships are so important.
I absolutely echo what you just point out, that relationship, because when it comes to the relationship, there's something which I think that no matter how advanced of the AI tool, which I'm very, very confident we are irreplaceable. And then I have 2 points to make here. That's echo to what you talk about, that relationship. Because in that human relationship, there's something is meaningful. Okay, there's something moral principles there. And as of now, as this AI is the human design tool, and what's the moral principle, what's meaningful, and my observation is that different people have different interpretation. Okay, as we have these, and then the opinion could be so different and so opposite, which means that the person behind that designing the AI tools going to have their own value and moral and generate that algorithm. So what now the information coming out, and in a way, I don't know whether it's appropriate, but I think that in a way, almost like they had these, that in the in organic chemistry, we know the racemic molecules, right? You have mixture of left and right. Okay, this mirror image.
Yes.
It's so what I see is these AI informations when it comes to the moral or the value or the meaning, what define human being. This AI, they have this racemic mix, but they couldn't tell.
Yeah.
The reason they couldn't tell is that we as a human don't agree upon. Okay, not that we cannot design something, but we disagree. So then what we end up with these AI is that we have that racemic mix of these value and meanings. Okay, and so you know what? So this is something that AI were never able to kind of, because we design it, like I said, so because we disagree. So this is a puzzle that AI itself will not solve. So this is one piece. Now the second piece is that conscious self that will, okay? It's like, how to put it? Let me go back to the previous one and capture it, and then I will move on to this one. The previous one, as we talk about these mixed things, is like for example, my watch. Okay, my watch know the time, but doesn't truly know the meaning. Okay, it's close to 1 o'clock. I have come up here and sit down here, have a conversation with Sarah. I have a lot of feeling about it, but this watch doesn't, right? It's a tool for me, and this is like an AI tool. Okay, so that's that piece of it. Now, coming to talking about the that conscious free will, which is that when because of these moral values, meanings, okay, we understand it, but that we have the free will of follow it or not follow it, which is very different than apple, right, falling down, right? It have to follow the gravity, but we don't have to. Now the apple is like the AI we design. Whatever we put in, it will follow, but we do not know as of now. At least neuroscience have not found out where is our free will center, free will network in the brain.
That pathway is
that pathway still very unknown, and then we cannot give what we don't have, or we cannot teach AI what we do not know, and we have not figured out what exactly is the agency in the brain, or whether it's really within the brain. So just to sum it up, because AI is not going to have that moral compass, okay? AI not going to, we would, human being cannot teach AI the free will. We don't know how to teach. We cannot teach what we don't know. We cannot give what we don't have. So I'm very confident that AI will not replace us, because these are the two main things that I think that's in us, so fundamental in our relationships that AI doesn't have. So I'm positive about it.
I'm with you on that. I will say something I'm struck by is how this also ties into the value you have when you treat your friends who are in front of you. And I know you don't just ask for illness questions to check a box. So can you tell like everyone else a little bit, like when you see a friend in front of you, you're meeting them, what are you asking them?
What do I ask them? Okay. So now, Sarah, if I may take you to that first meeting, I meet my friends. Okay, so this is how I introduce myself. I tell them that I know that you set up an appointment with me. You were hoping that I could be a helpful doctor for you. But in order for me to be a helpful doctor for you, we need to be good friends first. Because without that relationship, go back to what you talked about, without that relationship, all my knowledge, experience, it's not going to have any meaning or translate into your experience, be helpful for you. So begin with as a good friend. So as a good friend, we need to know each other. So I always very upfront telling them, you need to know 3 things about me. The number one thing is my English. This is not my native language, okay? So I try very hard to kind of improve my language, but this is as good as I can speak English. Your level is up here. There's going to be time that we communicate and we don't understand each other. And I ask you to be patient with me because there's no way that all of a sudden I sprint my language ability and up there with you, but you could because you can run so fast. You could slow down. The one who is stronger, run faster, could slow down and come to my level and we talk. Okay, and that for me to accurately understand you is the foundation for me to provide care for you. So that's the one thing I want you. Second thing I want them to know is my practice philosophy. Okay, and my practice philosophy based on 3 foundations. Okay, I say I believe, even though this is the first day I'm meeting you, but there are 3 things I already know about you. First, your parents raised you to know right from wrong. Okay, I'm not going to teach you that. I know you know it. Okay, second thing, I know you want to be a good person. You want to have a good life. Third thing, you have unlimited possibility, okay, to be the good person you want yourself to be and live the good life you want to live. What I'm doing here is bringing my experience to help you reach your full potential. And the last point I make with them is that that's to tell them that actually we are neighbors in a way that you know we're not going to meet in the office. We're going to meet in the community. Okay, we are going to. I literally, Sarah, I meet my friend in restaurant, library,
Wow.
movie theater, a lot of places. I let them up front know. You know what? When we bump into each other outside this office, okay, it is I understand there are times we bump into people we know, but we are not in the mood of chatting. It's totally fine. You don't want to chat that day, okay? Nobody going to take it personal, but I would let you know from my end, okay? I'm always on the chatting mode. So if you want to chat, we're going to talk, but what we discuss here in the office will stay here. So I kind of laid down that foundation to know that I'm the person with poor English. I need you to help me, and I firmly believe in you, and we are neighbors. And then from there, I think I get to know, and then from there, I think that's then go back to your question is that I genuinely interested in them because when I believe they want to be good. Then I say, you know what, Bud, Joni, you see, this is what you do. Help me understand this gap. So coming from this curiosity of their potential and what they could be or what they want to be and what I'm seeing here, and that curiosity carry me and have worked with the family and my friends together through the journey.
I love so much of what you said. You know, the assuming the best in the person in front of you, the sitting back and just establishing what are we doing here. And you're not just going to, again, talk about symptoms in a checklist. You need to get to know them. They need to
Yes.
get to know you for you to be together on this journey. I will say this is a hard skill to teach. So in the education work you do in primary care, how do you help teach the skill? Or what advice do you have for people to start adopting this type of model when they have 10-minute appointments and, messages to respond to and people are calling? What advice do you have?
Okay, so you probably hear me say it more than one time. I always say that connection before correction, connection before direction. Um, uh, which I'm going to bring that driving that manual car, right? We all know that. When I came to United States, the first car me and my husband have is a manual car. We poor, grad students don't have monies, and then we get that white car, and it's manual. Okay, and I still have nightmare about stop at the red line, uphill, and I will get against the hill, and I'm driving that, and scared of that light going to turn green, and I don't know what to do with the clutch. But that's not the point. The point is what I learned through that experience is that, Sarah, in order to shift the gear, the car has to come to the speed that close to the gear, okay? And then we can gear on, okay? Well, that connection is the kids, when kids know we truly care, okay? How much, it doesn't matter how much we know unless they know how much we care, that we believe in them, we care about them, and when we have that confidence, we make that connection, and then you know what happened with that manual shift, right? Is that when we gear on immediately, we can press on the gas pedal, we can turn that steering wheel, we can guide them, okay? And so when we genuinely care, put that, connect with the friends in front of us with our heart, see them as a human being who suffered, and I think that with that level of connection, then I think that a lot of things become automatically obvious for us. A lot of things we don't see, now we start to see. A lot of things we do not hear, we start to hear it. Because without that connections, even things were there. Okay, just like before I have my Labradoodle, I never know my neighbors in the neighborhood, there are so many Labradoodle. Okay, but then when I have my Labradoodle, then I look, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So I think that it's going to be that when we connect with the people, then we know what to look for. Those clinical data, those information we need, and kids going to more willingly provide information. A lot of things start to flow so naturally. So I want to say that if there's one thing, is that connect with the family and friends, come to my office, make that connection, and magic will just flow on its own, will work.
Thank you. Yeah, and again, it's the connection that your family wanted, your sister wanted, and it's a connection that our medical training almost sterilizes us from. Again, puts all these barriers in, and we need to learn to kind of break that down and learn to connect again on that human level.
Yes.
Take our time, and sure, maybe that's the 10 minutes we do this time, and then when I see you again, we'll, like, the conversation continues. Like I said, we have to get to the same place to then be on a journey together.
Yes, we are absolutely in this together. Totally agree with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting us. Do you have any words about how people can reach out to you or learn more about the work that you do?
Okay, so I work at Lifestance Health, and then my office in Barrington, Illinois, and I think that the TN part of the TNT faculty is another way that I can connect with the people, and then Chicago Med School, that would be another way that I think that to find me. So
Awesome. Thank you so much.
thank you.